Well, we thought we'd start this one with a twist. What if all digital pianos were keyboards, but not all keyboards were digital pianos? Today, we talk about the differences. Stick around.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in beautiful downtown San Antonio, Texas.
And I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We really appreciate the support, and we love to interact with you guys. Ted, we've got a question we hear all the time today. What are the differences between a digital piano and a keyboard?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. We did that funny introduction, but there is a twist in all of this, and it's I always like to reference Yamaha in this because a couple years ago, I'm not even sure if it's still categorized as this, but a couple years ago, Yamaha changed their entire piano division of their company, which goes from $250,000 at the highest end to $40 of the little keyboards. They call it the keyboard division. And so keyboard really kind of encompasses a whole bunch. And that's why this question it's a lot to unpack.
They put their adding machines in there too.
Yeah.
Because they've got a keyboard.
Yeah, anything that's keyboard related.
Yeah.
But keyboard has become this catch-all phrase. And it really can mean a whole bunch of different things. But in people's mind, if you say think of a keyboard, they usually think of a variation of a couple different things. And so keyboards are very popular and can, if you go into a store and say, I'm looking for a keyboard, they're gonna slow talk you. They're gonna be like, whoa, hold on, like that can mean a whole bunch of stuff. Let's start looking at portable pianos or portable keyboards, and let's start looking at MIDI keyboards, and let's start looking at all this. They get into all these different channels and avenues they can go down. And then you look at digital pianos, and digital piano kind of has more of a. And when people think of a digital piano, they think of something more concrete and it's an in-home acoustic, basically, that's been converted to a digital. And so today we're going to kind of tackle that question, unpack it. What are the differences? Should I be looking for a digital piano, or should I be looking for a keyboard?
It all depends. I mean, if you're going to look for something to take to the beach and just have the fool around with, well, that's, they've got $100, $200 keyboard you can do that with. Say you have some really young children, you just want to introduce them to the concepts of music. And I did this with my children when they were young. I mean, my son was still crawling, and I found a little Yamaha keyboard, and it had all drum beats in it and all the different sounds. And they played with it. They abused it. It still worked. They drug it all over the house, and they had interest in music and rhythm and stuff like that growing up. And they eventually took piano lessons. But that's keyboard.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people's idea of keyboard is that it's something portable that they can take. And so I think it's important to realize that there's no criteria really for what a keyboard can have and what it doesn't have. It can be as simple as a toy that you find from a toy store that makes musical instruments when you press it. It can be as advanced as something that really can sound like a piano and feel like a piano. But I think it's easy to get distracted by a whole bunch of things when you say, I'm looking for a keyboard. If you type in keyboards on Google, millions of results, obviously, because it's Google.
All kind of things come up, right?
But I think it's important to realize what you're actually looking for. It's kind of unpacked in that question. And so figuring out what is the goal of having this. Are you looking for a MIDI controller? Because that's a keyboard. Are you looking for something that can plug into your computer and be a controller so you can control drums, you can control bass? It has features that honestly, a MIDI controller can control light setups and things like that.
True.
Are you looking for a workstation, a musical workstation? Are you looking for an organ simulator? Are you looking for, there's all these different avenues. Are you looking for something that you can learn piano on? Because a lot of the times I think the journey starts wrong because they're like, okay, I'm looking for a keyboard for my kid to take piano lessons.
It's gotten a lot more refined and a lot smaller at the same time in the last 50 years, because 50 years ago, a keyboard was the instrument-looking part of either a synthesizer or a Fender Rhodes, a clavinet. I mean, when you said keyboards, they were all different manufacturers. Okay, so now you have keyboards, you have one manufacturer that makes a ton of products, and they used to not make tons of products. And along the ways that the keyboards portability was a big factor because people wanted to bring that music around with them. And then what features do you put in there? And then again, there's those, well, a digital piano is less expensive than a real piano, and it plays and sounds a lot like the same. And since I've got the students that are learning, and we've had piano professors from colleges and universities come in here and actually buy a digital piano.
Yeah.
Knowing full well that this is a real piano action with no strings in it. It has real hammers in it, but it's not actually striking a string to make the tone. So they've gone from a keyboard, almost every keyboard used to be its own instrument. It actually had a tone generator in it. And so now they're full of samples.
Yeah.
And so you have samples in a keyboard, you have samples in a digital piano. They're very similar, but there's still some differences between the two of them.
And I think when you ask that question, what is the goal? What am I looking for in this? I think it's important to realize what a keyboard brings to the table and what a digital piano can bring to the table. In a digital piano, like you were saying, a lot of the research and development, a lot of the upgrades to digital pianos are going to be directly found in the action, which is the way it feels. So the feel of it is going to be directly correlated to the more you spend, the better it feels.
More to a piano.
More to a piano, exactly. Because a digital piano is trying to it's trying to replace a piano. And digital pianos, you can find them in the hundreds of dollars, and you can go all the way up to $10,000+ on digital pianos. So not only is it the feel, but it's the sound. So not only the tone generation when it comes to samples and modeling and all this new technology that's coming out, but the actual speakers.
Correct.
And so how many speakers there are, how big those speakers are, what is the wattage, all those things are going to be increases in price, but bring it to a more full, developed, dynamic sound in an instrument that's really trying to replicate an acoustic piano. And so that's the goal of digital pianos, whether it starts at the $400 weighted action with a piano sample, and they'll label it a digital piano. When it starts there and it goes all the way up to multi-thousands of dollars, digital piano is really always striving to be more like an acoustic instrument. A keyboard, on the other hand, is more, like you said, about portability and more about I would call it non-traditional features, like synthesizers, like MIDI controls.
Right.
And it's become very popular because the music production can all be done in home. And so we get this all the time, misdiagnosed instrument needs. Oh, well, I'm looking for something that looks good. You see it and you don't realize that it doesn't have speakers on it.
Right.
It doesn't have any sound generation on it. There's a whole bunch of things to avoid when you go to a store, because if you don't know exactly what the purpose is, if it's for piano lessons, it's very important to talk to a piano teacher and ask about what are those important features. And they can really guide you in the keyboard direction or guide you in the digital piano direction. But for the most part, like we said in the intro, all digital pianos are keyboards. And I think we use these terms very fluidly.
Sure.
And we should be saying digital piano when we mean keyboard, or keyboard when we mean digital piano. They're very interchangeable. But it's just it's something that we wanted to address here because I think it's an important question to ask.
It is an important question. A lot of times, the student may come in wanting a piano and then consider looking at a digital piano. And then you find out that their main instrument is a solo instrument, clarinet, trumpet, violin. And what they really wanted was something that can kind of play music -1.
Yeah.
So I need something that can play back a MIDI file of, say, this clarinet concerto without the clarinet in it, just all the orchestra lines so they can rehearse the parts. And there's a lot of MIDI files that are like that. And a digital piano doesn't always have drums and all the other tones in it that you would kind of get on a keyboard. Some of them do, and they can play full MIDI files, so that's something you need to look at.
Yeah.
And it's another extension of what a piano or a keyboard can do to help a pro musician or an approaching pro musician as a student, as a soloist, to have not just a piano, because if they went out and bought a piano, well, then they need a piano player. And so like a digital piano and a keyboard, I mean, you get those players along with the files that you can download and use.
So I think it's important to realize the differences and also to find, if you have a hard time answering the question, what is this for? I think finding the right person to ask, whether that is someone at your local music store, or someone online doing a little research. If you're looking for a teacher recommendation, I think that's a great place to start. But keyboards and digital pianos are just progressing so fast. And I think that's why this question gets confused, is because the lines are blurring. And when people think keyboard, they're like, well, I should be able to practice piano and learn piano, and it should all translate. In reality, you're sometimes losing things like the feel of the instrument and the sound of the instrument, which are very important when it comes to learning an acoustic instrument. It's all about dynamic control and hearing the melody and hearing it all in tune and making sure that you're strengthening your fingers the right way.
Vibrational feedback, resonance, all those things.
And so that's very important, and maybe those are the features that you're willing to spend more on, but you don't want all the bells and whistles of a keyboard. And so knowing the answers to that question, I think, is the most important start to this journey. And if you have confusion on what is a keyboard and what is a digital piano, we hope this kind of cleared it up, because it can be confusing. And like we said in the intro, all digital pianos are keyboards. All acoustic pianos really are keyboards. But all keyboards are not pianos, and all keyboards are not digital pianos, and not all keyboards are going to be acceptable to learn piano on. And I think that's really the base of why we wanted to let this video, why we wanted to bring this question up and ask this question, because a lot of times people think, oh, I can just pick any keyboard and they can learn on that. We wanted to warn you guys of that. Well, thank you guys for watching. This is Ted Barcelou. I'm Patrick Marr with Alamo Music. If you have any more questions about keyboards and about digital pianos and any of the differences, please don't hesitate to go to our website. We have a chat agent available who can help you and talk you through the differences and what you're looking at, and maybe if it's the right thing or the wrong thing, or if you just need to make some modifications to your search. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we have this one and a couple others. We love to bring you guys content, and we really appreciate your support. So sign up for notifications, like our videos, and subscribe to those channels, because we really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.